We are live. Hey, everybody, come on in. See you out there. It's a wonderful Sunday morning. Not everybody's awake that I was expecting to be awake, but we'll see how it goes. And Roland Man was supposed to be a guest today. He's trying to get on from the bike trail that he's riding on. So I'm not sure if his signal's going to make it or not. Right now, we have the grinding wheel of death, and he's sitting in the green room. See, there he is, still grinding. Roland, we love you. Get home safely and get back on here so you can promote Silverline. We really want you on today. All right, buddy. Wish you the best if you can hear me. All right. Now there's 2 bits of house cleaning. Sorry, Glenn. Oh, yep. Roland just disappeared from the green room, so maybe he did hear me. Awesome. Cool. There's 2 bits of house cleaning that I have to do before we start this episode of Sunday Funnies.
Okay.
And first and most importantly is that there's an amended findings. Dojo Kun posted an amended findings on Liberty distribution late last night, of which I am involved with the Long Shots campaign, which we'll talk about the Long Shots campaign towards the end of this broadcast. But I want to tell everybody thank you from the bottom of my heart. I've had PMs, Hail Comic Book Black Belt. I sent you a link. You're welcome to come in. There has been a final finding on that, and it's going to get messier before it gets better, apparently. So, if you want the if you want to see that, the link is here in the chat. Please copy it down, bookmark it, or do whatever you need to do. We will not be discussing the Liberty distribution problem today because this is Sunday Funnies, and we want to be lighthearted and whimsical. And talk about the stuff that we love, not the stuff that we've been screwed out of and the bitterness and the anger that goes along with that. And there is bitterness and there is anger. I will be covering that a lot more on this Wednesday's Zimcast. So please tune in on Wednesday. In between then and now, you can PM me. We can talk about this all that you want. I am not going to go public with another statement on this until Wednesday. Maybe mention it in passing it on dispatches from outside the box on Tuesday, but we're going to get into the meat and potatoes on Wednesday on this because it's finally out. Dojo is a fraud investigator with ties to the FBI, and he has made a huge effort and spent a lot of time trying to track this down, and we deeply appreciate what he's done. I deeply appreciate everybody that's already reached out to me since that has hit. Definitely watch the video. Maybe not right now because Sunday Funnies is on. And spread that link around as far as you can because that's important news that really needs to get out. And everybody needs to be aware. And sometimes we have incredibly great people, most of the time, I should say. We have incredibly great people in this industry, and sometimes there's just a bad apple or one that goes bad or just crap that comes up in this stupid drama that drives me crazy and gives me ulcers. And we'll address that a lot more in detail on Wednesday. And I appreciate your patience on this. But this is the Sunday Funnies. This is the Sunday Funnies for March 27th, 2022. And we're here to talk about what we love and about our comics. And which are the same thing. But the second part, the second bit of business that I want to mention is that over at the Raging 2 Network, and please, if you haven't gone over and subscribed at the Raging 2 Network yet, you should, because there's a lot of great programming. There's a lot of experienced podcasters that are coming in, and the programming network is just going to keep expanding from here. So please go over there, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. But over on the Raging 2 Network, we have a playlist now of classic Sunday Funny shows that Daphne is putting together for us. And these are the episodes that we can't do without. These are the cool episodes. Like the first one that was posted was an interview with Arrow Comics founders from the 80s, Ralph Griffith and Stuart Kerr. And we're so happy that we were able to get both of them on the air. We were able to talk about the history of Arrow Comics, which isn't discussed enough because it really made a mark in in comics history, and it deserves a lot bigger mark than just a silly footnote or a mild mention. And Ralph and Stu were there to talk about what they had done for the for comics industry. And if you get a chance, you really need to go over there and look at that interview. The second one has just been posted, and that's an interview that Daphne and I did with Dan Fogel, who's a longtime underground comics expert and contributor. And he does Fogel's Guides to Underground Comics, which is a physical price guide for comics. And that interview was amazing. We did that a couple of years ago, and it was just fantastic. And there's more great classic Sunday Funnies episodes coming. So please go over to the Raging 2 Network, look for the classic Sunday Funnies playlist, and take a few hours out and just enjoy the comics history. Not just what's up there now, but what's coming. And we're going to keep posting, and I'll keep mentioning here on this program, pardon me, as new classic Sunday Funnies go up. And well, I'm especially proud of the 2 interviews that are up there already. And there's a lot more to come. I know the next one is probably going to be the interview with Trina Robbins that we had on for a couple of hours. That was just amazing. And I love her to death. I really do. And I wish her only the best. And it was a great interview, and it was a great episode. And there'll be more great Sunday Funnies episodes. We're not just going to sit here and stammer around. So we'll be talking more stuff as time goes on. I'm looking at lining up a couple of really great guests. Some like Roland Mann, who was supposed to be here today. I know next week we're going to have Brian K. Morris on. Maybe Glenn will be back with us, and we'll talk more about the old time comics. I've sent out some links this morning to Scott Rosema and Rich Perota. They're supposed to be here. We've got a few other people in the wings that are waiting to come on. I've got a message here. I should invite Dojo and Fowler for Zimcast. Yes. I'll be there soon, ate lunch, and I will be drawing something that's okay. That's Rich, always okay. Sorry, folks, still doing housekeeping. Other than that, I think we can start the show. Can we start the show? I've got Glenn B. Fleming here with me.
Hi, everybody.
There's a show right there. Let's go.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, you're funny. Here we go, folks. Running the opening. As soon as I find it. Give me a second here. There it is. All right, folks. Welcome to the Sunday Funnies. Yes, that's my maniacal laughter right at the very end. Welcome, everybody, to the Sunday Funnies for the 27th of March, 2022. Happy that you're here. Come on in, join the fun, bring some coffee. I don't think there's any coffee even set up in the back of the room, but there are chairs. So come on in, sit down, and let's talk funny books. So I am your host, Grandmaster Zim, as they call me on the a few other podcasts. I'm Randy Zimmerman. I've been around in comics for decades, all independent and alternative comics. Had an opportunity to work for the big two a couple times, and things just didn't work out, or I'm just too stubborn to deal with some of these editors. But I've been in alternative and independent comics for most all of my life. I've been coordinating conventions for over a decade, been doing, did my own newspaper for about a decade, almost exactly a decade. Did 100 issues, 10,000 per run, circulated them in my own county, and learned to love comics all over again. That's why I want to do this program. The Sunday Funny Show is dedicated to the more lighthearted, more whimsical side of comics, the stuff that we love. You know, the stuff we don't talk about enough, the stuff that when you walk into a comic book retail shop and you see that guy or girl behind the counter, get that twinkle in their eye and start running off on their favorite comic. just constantly running. Whether even if it's Squirrel Girl, we want to talk about what we love on this show, and not any bitterness, no drama. Hopefully, the conversation goes crazy at times, but that's the way conversations go at times. But we're really here to talk about comics and popular media, the stuff that we love. You can't you start talking to me about Supermarionation and you can't shut me up. You know, it's just great stuff. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. There's this weekend, I believe, there's a great 2000 AD online convention going on with all sorts of panels that everybody that they could get their hands on, including Pat Mills, are going to be on panels, talking to fans, taking chats, doing all sorts of stuff. I don't even have an address for that. And I wish I had the time to go over there and visit and partake. I'll probably be hunting it down once I get a little bit of spare time and listening to all of the great panels over there. But all of those great old, shouldn't say old, those great 2000 AD contributors, the ones that are still around, are on those panels, and they're talking about, again, just like we're doing here, the comics that they love, because it was such a great time in English comics history for 2000 AD to be out there, and it made such a huge mark, and it continues to make a mark even to this day. It's 45 years. You believe that? 45 years ago.
45 years. Wow.
It started back in 77, just as that crazy Star Wars movie was about to come out.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know, they were out looking for ideas, and Pat Mills decided, and I never realized how radical it was when I discovered it. Pardon me just for a second. You didn't need to hear that. I didn't realize how radical and punk-like they said that 2000 AD was when it first came out. So I stumbled across it here in a Fantastic Films magazine, because I was really heavy into Star Wars, and Empire, I think, had come out by that point, because there were all these crazy rumors flying about the next one, because that's what happened when you didn't have social media, right? Crazy rumors.
Yeah.
Unlike today, right? Anyway, all these crazy theories were flying, and they had I believe Black Hole was on the cover, Disney's Black Hole. And then there was an article about 2000 AD inside, and I says, man, these comics sound crazy. I got to dig these up. And I had somebody bring me a collection of them when I was working at a bookstore. I ran a chain of bookstores up here in Flint for a little while. And he brought in a box full of stuff, a bag. I think it was a grocery sack. Back then we had real sturdy paper grocery bags that could carry, 400 or 500 progs of 2000 AD. Yeah, probably about 300 progs total. Yeah. And they were all in order. Of course, the early ones weren't there, but I knew who most of the characters were from that article. I just ate them up. That's why you'll see a 2000 AD always in the opening of the show.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's just phenomenal comics. What imagination came through. They literally took the idea of superheroes and twisted it into or action adventure heroes, I should say, more of the pulp heroes, and gave it all science fiction settings with just the wildest imagination. I have nothing but envy and appreciation for Pat Mills and the stuff that he wrote during that period, because he was cranking them out.
And he was also
at an amazing rate
responsible for girls' comics before that.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why he broke into 2000 AD, because he couldn't write any more stories about Bella and, whoever it was, and at some boarding school, in England somewhere.
Yeah. Amazon Prime has a great documentary called Future Shock available, or IMDb.com, if you can stand the commercials, because every 5 minutes there's a freaking block of commercials.
Well, they have to pay for it.
But Pat said that at the time he was doing all of the comics, or watching over the comics and writing for the comics at 2000, and all of the boys' comics were stagnant and just dull, and he hated them. So he wanted to do his own. He pitched one and got the okay to do 2000.
Yeah, I think he also was, if I remember, because he spoke to us about this when I produced Crikey a decade ago.
Cool.
If I remember, he said that. He either said, or I've read, that he was he didn't feel that he was making the money he could, so he went freelance at that point. And I think he got those guys like Dave Gibbons and all that to produce
Yeah.
All the people. I think I might be wrong about this, but I think what happened was that all the people who were producing the books, working for DC Thompson, whoever it was who published it, all left and went freelance. So they had to hire them because otherwise there was no comic.
I believe
Something like that.
it was
I might be wrong.
IPC. It was IPC at the time.
IPC, yeah, that's it. IPC.
They didn't go to DC until after they were on 2000 AD. In fact, that's another great clip.
No, DC Thompson is a British publisher.
Oh,
comics.
Gotcha. Okay.
DC Thompson, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I should mention that my guest here this morning is Glenn B. Fleming, and I didn't have you introduce yourself. So please go through and introduce yourself.
I'm Glenn Fleming. I'm a writer, artist, and publisher. I write books about various subjects such as assassination, JFK assassination, science fiction stories, children's books, adult humor books. I write about my travels around the world. Published a book on that when I went to Easter Island a few years ago. There's about 10 or 11 books up on. You can find them all on Amazon. I spent 40 years in graphics, which was probably where I shouldn't have been. I should have been in comics, but we should all do different things. And then I got back into comics, publishing my own in the what became the black and white glut of the mid 80s. I had several comics out at that time, and now I'm just writing and producing films and stuff. And I have my experiences of meeting Jack Kirby on Indiegogo right now, which is, if I can plug this, which is this.
Of course, you can plug it.
Yeah. And with the book, you get a DVD of Jack talking about his experiences in the army and when he was a kid and all this kind of thing. Not a formal interview, I just let him talk. So I wrote this book as a companion to the DVD, and that's on Indiegogo right now. So check that out, please. And yeah, I've had a good time in my life, in my work, doing a lot of artwork, illustrations, writing, various things, different job on my board. I used to draw Postman Pat at one time, Postman Pat.
We talked about that in the past, yeah.
Yeah, I drew that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Chalk and My Little Pony and that kind of stuff. So I've had a varying career. It's been a good one.
Ragin 2 says hello. Hello, Nita. Hope you're doing
Nita.
well.
Nita.
Sin Killer says greetings. Also there. Marv, hope you're doing well. He says, just want to say that I've tagged big YouTubers on Twitter to check out Dojo Coon Comics video. Hopefully they'll talk about it on their channel. Hope so too. Everybody needs to know. And well, like I said before, we'll talk about more about that on Wednesday on the Zimcast.
You were just saying about Supermarionation and 2000 AD. Those two, the comics that TV Century 21 that was like the featured Thunderbirds and Stingray and all that kind of stuff, like a vehicle for Jerry Anderson, as you know.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that that comic and 2000 AD showed the world some fantastic artists and writers like Mike Noble and Frank Bellamy and Dave Gibbons and Alan Moore and all these people and Pat Mills. Such a tremendous amount of work and history there, which is one of the reasons why I helped set up Crikey in 2007. Was that was about British comics when we realized that we had about 150 years of history to go at, so we were never going to see the end of it. We got interviews with Pat and people like that and Dave Gibbons and all that kind of thing. So there's such a tremendous amount of history in British comics that I think a lot of Americans don't know about, and if they could spend the time, I think they would be heavily rewarded, because as you know, that 2000 AD stuff was absolutely incredible. Yes. real groundbreaking stuff. And Pat Mills is known as the godfather of comics over here, and he is, because he is a superb writer. And
what crazy imagination, over here in the States, about all of 2000 AD that we know of is Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
A lousy Stallone movie and a pretty decent Carl Urban movie taken off of a Japanese, with a plot that's literally taken off of a Japanese film.
Right.
And he never got a fair shake over here in the States, as far as I was concerned, except for the case files that they've printed. They printed massive case files, American versions of the case files that they printed over in England.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff's available over at over at Amazon.com. But there's so much more. Dredd was only about 1/6 of every issue of 2000 AD. And they had features that were constantly rotating in and out of that, depending upon what story was done and how I got plugged in where. and they really had to work incredibly far in advance, because I'm sure that they had, at least a month or two's worth of issues stocked up, ready to go to the printer at,
Yeah, I
at any
think
given time.
I was going to say that in Judge Dredd, I think there must have been they must have gone at the last moment, because there are often references like on the buildings that have things like George Michael block,
Mhm.
and that Joseph Goebbels block, that kind of thing, written down the side of the building. But it used to be really up to date with the news, and there'd be somebody on the news that you'd hear about, and then the next week you'd have a block named after him in Judge Dredd. His name would be written down the side of one of the buildings. So I think you're right. I think they produced a lot in advance, but I think it was all last minute with stuff like that being added.
Now, they had to have had fill-in issues for just in cases circumstances, especially when it came to Dredd, because he was so popular. They had to have him in every issue.
Yeah, my favorite from 2000 AD is Rogue Trooper, though, with Cam Kennedy on the art. Mm-hmm. What an artist he is! He drew Light and Darkness War for DC, I think it was. Later, he painted the whole thing, because he's basically a painter rather than a comic book artist. But he produced some fantastic stuff. And Cam used to draw Commando comics. Have you seen those pocket-sized comics?
No,
British comics. They're called Commando, and the story, the Second World War stories, basically. Mm-hmm. I think they branched out into American Civil War and things like that. But they're up to about, I think they're up to about the 6,000th issue, and the little pocket-sized things, And Cam used to draw those in the late 60s, 70s, and then he went on to 2000 AD, and he's a fine artist as well.
Even Rogue Trooper, there was so much more other stuff, ABC Warriors and Robo Hunter
and Slain.
Yeah, it's very big.
It's fantastic artwork in there.
Nemesis, just insane stuff.
And the thing about Judge Dredd was that every time you picked up the book, when you get a Spider-Man book, and sometimes when the artist changed it, jars it, doesn't it? Jars the continuity, like when Romita took up from Steve Ditko, because nobody draws like Ditko, do they?
Nobody draws like Romita either.
No, but
even his son.
Anyway. but he draws more like John Buscema, does it? More of a smooth line, nice work. But when you pick up Judge Dredd, and you've got people like Brian Bolland drawing it with that really beautiful detailed line he has, and then you've got Carlos Esquera, who died recently, a couple of years ago, this Spanish artist, and his is really gritty. Then Cam Kennedy drew Rogue Trooper as well, and then you've got Ron Smith on drawing him as well. You've got these fantastic artists.
Yeah, and sorry if we're going over the Americans' heads on some of these artists, but they're really worth your time.
Check them out.
Checking out and looking them up. Just the case files also are set up like the Essentials in the old Showcase Presents. Where you get like 500, 600 pages of a character in there. And I just realized watching the documentary, because I was always upset, why don't they just reprint all of the progs? All of the issues, issue by issue. They called them progs, short for programs over there. I found out while watching the documentary that it's a rights problem, that a lot of the creators own the rights to those stories. So you have to go back to every individual that worked, and I can imagine having to do that even for a 6-month book or period for 2000. You're talking 40, maybe 50 artists minimal on that.
It's always
you would have to go get clearances from.
It's always the same with the rights, isn't it? It always seems to get in the way, don't they? It's like
them crazy creators. Anyway,
there was I spoke before about the Avengers, not Captain America Avengers, the one with Steed in it and Appeal and those things. Yeah. When I was at Crikey, I was in touch with DC Thompson, who are in Scotland, and they've got the artwork for an Avengers, John Steed series comic that was drawn by a Spanish artist. And it's beautiful coloured artwork, and I wanted to know. I asked why it wasn't reprinted, and there was a rights issue on that. There was the rights to DC Thompson owned the artwork. There was the rights to the idea, the premise of the Avengers series, and then which I think Carlton Television owned, and then there was the logo. So my suggestion, the obvious suggestion to me, would be just to print the damn thing, get the money in the bank, and then have a third each or whatever it is each. or argue about it. But all it injures is me seeing it and you seeing it. And this artwork is in a box. It's been there for 45 years. It'll probably be there for another 45 years. And then somebody probably throw it in the bin.
Yep.
I just don't understand why they just can't make an agreement.
Absolutely. You'd think they'd want money.
Yeah, that's what. Surely something's better than nothing.
Maybe not. Who knows? Sugar Chris is in the house. Sugar, thanks for listening. Says none of the vendors had any 2000 AD. I was surprised.
Wow.
Yeah, that sometimes. It takes a while. It was a rare occurrence when I would be looking at the shows. You'd find some in the magazine section or the magazine boxes every once in a great while. But most of the time, I was picking up collections from longtime readers and putting them together. That's that first collection that I was telling you about had all the Star-Lords in it.
Yeah.
From back then, that was the introduction for Strontium Dog. And if you haven't, if you're out there and you want to read a great comic and you haven't read Strontium Dog and you're familiar with Judge Dredd, definitely pick up Strontium Dog. Definitely go through and pick up Rogue Trooper, pick up ABC Warriors, DR and Quinch. It's just amazing work that a lot of people over here haven't seen by Alan Moore and Alan Davis.
Yeah,
just phenomenal
Davis,
work.
Yeah. And Dave Gibbons as well. Yeah,
and
fantastic
Gibbons.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's wonderful stuff. It really is. I was always disappointed with that film that Stallone was in because the biggest point of Judge Dredd was that you never see his face. Yeah. And then when Stallone gets involved, he seems to forget that we'll know who he is. And the first thing he did was walk in the changing room and take his helmet off, wasn't it? So we could see it was it's Sylvester in another film like we didn't know.
Yeah, it's like we couldn't tell from his jaw and his voice.
That's right. Yeah,
that's appreciation that you have to have for Carl Urban, because that was the first thing that they said as soon as he got cast. He said, "I ain't taking the helmet off."
Right.
It's the way it is. That's Dredd, huh?
But I haven't seen the film.
You haven't seen the Dredd movie?
I've seen
Carl Urban's.
No, never seen it. I was put off by the Stallone one. I just thought, well, are they going to wreck it? I can't watch it again if they're going to wreck it again.
They didn't wreck the character. They just took the plot from the Japanese movie, The Raid.
Right.
And it's a very simplistic plot, and it might have been an accident, but it's pretty obvious that it wasn't. But and it's a shame too, because there's so much great Dredd material out there that they should be taking this stuff from. Yeah. But was it I think Anderson's in it. I'm not sure. Judge Anderson, I think, might be in it. It was a good, solid film, especially if you hadn't seen The Raid before. Right. But The Raid was just this over-the-top, violent Japanese. It wasn't a kung fu movie. It was a police drama that had a lot of Japanese fighting in it. It was an amazing film. So that's the only down part out of the Carl Urban movie that I saw. Mega City 1 was perfect. The way that they treated the judge was perfect. His acting for the judge was dead on.
Are they not going to make another one with him in it?
They're hoping. They've been talking for a long time about not just doing another movie, but doing a Netflix series.
Right.
For such a while. And that, again, you could start with Prague 1 of 2000 AD and just go through and adapt them.
Yeah.
Real easy. And, do 2 or 3 Pragues or doing some of the stories would take entire seasons minimal, to do some of the Judge Dredd stories, the Judge Caligula story and the Baron,
Judge Death and all
Burned
that
Earth.
Kind of stuff.
Yeah. Judge Death. Yeah. That would be some incredible shows.
I think when Pat Mills left, he did that. Was it Crisis? It was called. He did a comic called, I think it was called Crisis.
No, there were so many great comics that popped out during that period. And he did a little bit of work on Warrior too, I think, but that was probably before he left.
But I think this was about 1990. He left 2000 AD, and he did. I think it was a comic called Crisis.
There was one called Toxic. I think he might have been associated with.
Right, but it wasn't as good. He seemed to have lost an edge on it. I don't know. Well, that's just my opinion. I didn't enjoy that work.
You start a book back in the 70s that's got all of this imagination sparking. Anything else is just going to seem like a pale imitation for quite a while.
Yeah.
That's why they couldn't keep Star-Lord afloat, even though it had Strontium Dog in it. They ended up blending it into 2000 AD after, I think, less than a year.
Right.
Even 6 months worth of issues, because they were weekly over there, available on the stands weekly.
That's right.
So, and that had a couple of great stories that dropped off, like a Planet of the Vampires type of tale that was just, it reminded me of the old Warren magazines, just rough, tumble, and violent, just always something happening constantly.
Yeah, they use a lot of well, I suppose we're all, I don't know, can you use the word foreigners these days? I'm not sure. I was going to say they use a lot of foreign artists, like Spanish artists and Portuguese artists in 2000 AD, and those British comics. I can't remember the name, but is it?
It's all foreign artists to us.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's foreign, you're foreign to me. There's a great pool of talent there, and like we said before, I don't think the American audience has seen a lot of it, and I think if you checked it out, you wouldn't be disappointed. Yeah. There's some fun, like you said, the 2000 AD, especially the Judge Dredd and the Rogue Trooper stories are just amazing.
I think that the case files over here have gone up to 25. I think over in England, they're in their 50s or 60s, something like that. Wow. And these case files are thick. We're talking just like the old Showcase Presents or the old Essentials that Marvel used to do. And the majority of that work was in black and white to start with. So you're not really pulling away from or distracting from the artwork. Some of it was in color, and those come across in gray tones, and some of that gets a little muddy, but they're still readable. They're still enjoyable. They're just great material. Mm-hmm. And there's even been side collections. Besides that, Titan did a phenomenal set of reprints on beautiful paper back in the 90s and 2000s. They did a lot of Judge Dredd material, some Rogue Trooper material. They also did Modesty Blaze for a few issues. That was just amazing. Charlie's War, that wasn't in 2000 AD. That was that in Commando or Battle? Battle, probably.
Battle, I think. It wasn't in Commando. Yeah, that was Pat Mills again, wasn't it? And then Joe Colloon on the artwork. Joe Colloon's a fantastic sort of a Second World War artist. You know, he really is. I know that's the First World War, Charlie's War, but that kind of flavor to it. It was a real. Joe Colloon was a real. A real British artist with that gritty style, and just fabulous work.
And if you enjoy Esquerra's art at all, there is a phenomenal collection of all of the Stainless Steel Rat episodes, which I never thought they'd ever collect, that ran through 2000 AD off of the Harry Harrison, I think it was, wrote those novels.
The science fiction writing.
It's almost like It Takes a Thief in the future. It Takes a Thief was a Robert Wagner show that was out for quite a while here. Yeah. They keep threatening to do a reboot on it, and you just keep going. Don't try. Just stop. Some things you can't. You don't want to see a
isn't
revision on.
Isn't Bob Wagner still alive? He could play it. He must be about 85 now.
He could play the Fred Astaire part. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's one of these people who never seems to get any older, isn't he?
Alexander Mundy. Yeah. Yeah, he is too. He never seems to age.
Have you seen the other guy? What's he called? Keir Dullea, who plays David Bowman in 2001. He's about 80 now. He looks better now than he did in the film.
Yeah.
He must have a painting in his loft, that gets old.
Probably. Dorian Gray all over again.
Yeah.
And again, we're looking at the chat. Atrocity Press. Thanks for listening, Max. 2000 AD had a ton of great stuff in them. They sure did. Yeah. Morning, everybody. Morning again. Morning, John Celestри's in the house. John, if you want a link, anytime you want to come on my Sunday show, buddy, you just let me know. I am here for you. I would love to have you on, and I'd even run solo, just like we're running with Glenn today, apparently. Hopefully Roland will get back in. Rich Perota is supposed to join us in a bit, but he'll be drawing and talking.
We won't see him. We'll just see his hand again.
Yeah, we'll just see his hands. Yep.
Dredd is awesome. Him or not, though, will we?
What?
We won't know whether it's Rich, will we, or somebody else?
Oh no, we'll know it's Rich just from the way he draws. He's got a very that's part of the fun with 2000 AD too, is everybody that they got on there had a distinctive style.
Yeah,
you can tell all these guys, just like the old Silver Age Marvel DC era. Yeah, Mills went out and found the best people to do the work, and they did their best work. It was just amazing, an amazing time. If you get a chance, again, like I said, Amazon has Rogue Trooper. Definitely look those up. There's 2 or 3 volumes of that available here in the States. There's a volume of Nemesis, which you cannot miss because it's an amazing piece of work, even if the lead character does look a little crazy. demonic even. If you haven't seen Strontium Dog, there are volumes of that available. Lots of volumes. Strontium Dog is well worth your time. Hope somebody out there is writing this down.
Have you seen?
If they haven't read those books before, you are in for a treat.
One thing they should check out is Halo Jones. Have you seen that?
I've got the Titan reprint book, and I read it
Ian,
originally when it was out, and I didn't like it at all.
Right, well, get to book 2. Persevere and get to book 2. It really takes off, because I didn't like the first parts. But get to book 2. The Ian Gibson artwork is superb, as you know. But just persevere with it and get book 2, and it really, really moves. It really moves.
Ian Gibson did Robo Hunter, the majority of the Robo Hunters.
Yes, he did, yeah.
And if you haven't seen that, Robo Hunter, that's available also in at least 1 or 2 reprint. And by reprint volumes, again, there's like 500 pages. We're talking
they're like telephone books, aren't they?
We're talking like 80 progs, at least 80 installments, at least. I mean, there's an afternoon minimal worth of reading there on any of these characters. And the more you read, the more you're going to want. Just like with Judge Dredd, because they go through and they expand his universe out. They do that with all of these characters, and it's phenomenal.
You know, the editor of 2000 AD is Tharg, the alien Tharg. Well, if you get the original progs and look through in a lot of the adverts in it, are the artists. Dave Gibbons is in a few adverts, and they're all different people from the staff in the adverts. You know, so it's a complete. They literally do the whole thing. You know.
Well, they said in the documentary that every comic at that time had a mascot narrator.
Right.
So they had to come up with one for 2000 AD. So they chose an alien, a green alien, called him Tharg the Mighty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mills kind of mentioned it while he was cringing. But the character took off so well, they couldn't stop using him. So they ended up having Tharg on the cover and all over the place. And,
he used to turn up at conventions and things like that.
Yeah.
Know? He used to get so much crap off people as well. You know?
I believe he said if there was one character during 2000 ADs that I regret creating, it was Tharg. He was like, oh, well, he was fun. It was great. It's just like the old witches in the EC books.
Yeah.
You know, well, he didn't pop up in the middle or at the end of any of the stories narrating, but he was always there at the front at the editorial pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dredd is off, and John, there won't be any more Dredd because the production companies won't agree on rights and who pays what for the sequel. Well, they're working that out, Max. I think you're going to see that, and eventually you're going to see a lot of those 2000 AD properties pop up because that's the next logical step, I think, from the superhero genre.
I just hope they don't change them too much like they tend to do and just spoil them. You know,
they got so close for a Rogue Trooper movie back in the 90s or 2000s with Rutger Hauer playing Rogue. Would have been amazing.
Yeah, David Bowie's son has just produced a Rogue Trooper film, hasn't it? I was working on it.
You see some fan films pop up on YouTube all the time for Rogue Trooper, Strontium Dog.
Right.
And then they all and you could tell they love the strip because it's so faithful to the original material.
That's the way it should be.
Absolutely.
That's the way it should be.
Absolutely. If you're going to do a fan film, yes, you know, they might turn Dredd into a woman. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Do another movie, lesbian too. No. I sincerely doubt that they'll let that happen. I would never say never because you never know about Hollywood, but if they did, they wouldn't make any money. She's a strong, independent judge who don't need no jury. Yes. At least it'd still be better than Stallone running around. I am the law.
Yeah.
And don't look at her cleavage. That's a death sentence. Yes, absolutely. Morning, Nita. Almost finished making this crowdfunding page. Aha.
Nita.
Hey, Joe. Hope you're doing well. Frog G, love you. I'm glad you're in the house. Sounds like a new link. Let me know when it's up. There we are. Yeah. Yay. Yeah. Sin Killer then says, talking about taking out off the helmet, the same thing happened in the Halo series. Master Chief wasn't supposed to take it off. They didn't care about the source material. That's Master Chef now. Yeah. Yeah. Comic book black belt. I am the law. Yes. Russ, again, I sent you a link. If you can come in, come in. You're welcome to join. And John messaged me. Whoever John Dunn. Oh, okay. Good morning. Morning, John. Hope you're listening. Jennifer Cool, if you're out there, hope you're listening. I need to scroll up and change my Facebook posting, apparently, because there's been people. Nope, I guess not. All right, well, let me refresh it here. Give me just a second. Yes, I do need to change that to public. Crazy Facebook won't let this thing go. Kenneth, we see you out there. Robert Wagner and Austin Powers, absolutely. Jennifer Luter says, go Army. I sure will check out. Okay, thank you. It's just not to go to church, not if to church. Crazy phone, something. Let me see if we've had nope, we haven't had that dump yet happen. Sorry, folks, got to get to church, not if to church. Crazy phone. Yep. Jennifer, thanks for listening. We deeply appreciate you out there.
If anybody's interested in a good overview of British comics, you want to get these.
There you are.
Crikey Collected. This is volume 4. There's 4 volumes of it. It's got. I mean, look at this artwork by Mike Noble in Captain Scarlet.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see that? Look at it.
I'm blowing it up though. Give me just a second. Hold that back up.
Okay, just a second.
And the richness is in the house. We're gonna bring him in here in a second. Yeah, look at that. It's just some phenomenal stuff,
All hand painted as well. It's all beautiful stuff. There's an article about Star-Lord in that one.
There we go. Yes.
Who?
It's
Star-Lord, man. Star-Lord.
Star-Lord,
man.
The comic, not the character.
Oh, okay. All right.
The comic premiered Strontium Dog by Carlos
Strontium
Cabrera.
Dog.
Johnny Alpha. What a great character.
Johnny Alpha.
One of my favorites on there, and I found out later that a lot of the readers absolutely hated it, was Flesh.
I hate that word.
And that was a great it would have made a great Snake Plissken movie.
Yeah. Oh God.
They could have adapted that over to Snake Plissken. What happens is that in the future we are starved for food. So we figure out how to time travel and we go back in time and start harvesting dinosaurs.
Nice.
And sending the meat up the time trail.
Oh man, real life Bronto burgers.
Yes,
damn,
exactly. And then
that's awesome.
Eventually the shipments stop. And they've
lost
all connection back in the past. So they end up getting this Snake Plissken type character.
Oh no.
This thug out of jail that always seems to survive, and they give him full immunity if he'll go back down the time slide and figure out what happened and get that meat coming back up the line again. So, and like I said, it'd make a perfect Snake Plissken. Escape from New York or Escape from the Future or whatever would be so cool. He ends up going back in time to solve the problem, gets back to the encampment, everybody's gone. And he finds out later that all of the dinosaurs that they've been harvesting are sentient.
Oh shit.
And there's one there's one dinosaur that's red that's been leading them all in a revolt. And eventually they overran the camp.
Holy shit.
What a phenomenal idea,
That's horrible.
Yeah. Just think of all of the action as this guy's fighting off all of these dinosaurs that are thinking,
I gotta see what these dinosaurs would say.
That is
it's like, pardon me, but I would like to eat the meat off of your tibia.
Yeah. Stupid meat monkey. Yeah, that kind of thing.
That's me.
If you get a chance, there is a collection of that also. Last time I looked, that was available on Amazon from Rebellion. So that's Flesh, Flesh. But it's a great story. I mean, we could sit here all day and describe all of these characters from 2000 AD, and the folks here that are listening to Sunday Funnies watch their eyes get big, like, what? Really? That was a comic? Holy crap. Tried to describe Rogue Trooper to them about a guy who's talking to his helmet, his backpack, and his gun. It's just as fellow brothers,
Yeah.
It's just amazing. What imagination. What crazy characters back then.
I think Dave Gibbons got that idea of Rogue Trooper from, is it Our Fighting Forces? when in the Joe Kubert, he had a strip where the helmet and the rifle and the backpack and all that spoke and told you what they did.
Did he really?
Yeah,
Wow.
but they weren't sort of alive like in Rogue Trooper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he just had the helmet speak, a drawing of a helmet, and it was speaking. It was telling you what it did and what it was for and what it was made of and all that kind of thing. So I suspect Dave Gibbons might have seen that one probably the same time I did when he was a kid and remembered it later.
Well, there's so many ideas that have inspiration, you know.
I'm not putting him down. I'm just saying it's Rogue Trooper is a fantastic series, and as I said earlier, it's my favorite from 2000 AD.
Anybody can do a future cop, you know.
Yeah.
But having it be such a social statement about the American justice system is just genius. You know, yes. They were saying in the documentary that RoboCop was originally supposed to be Dredd. The early drawings of RoboCop, he's got Dredd's helmet on. Wow. Almost exactly Dredd. And then they went through and changed it because they couldn't secure rights.
The best story I read in 2000 in Judge Dredd was where you know what Mega City one is like. It's not the nicest place on earth, is it?
But everybody's packed in and it's multiple layers. And
everybody gets murdered every day. So in this story, the millionaires, what they did, they created or they launched a satellite into orbit that had, it was like being in the Bahamas. It was a
vacation home,
swimming pools, all this kind of thing,
ultimate resort. And
there was no trouble there because everybody was a millionaire and all having a good time.
Sure.
But somebody found a loophole that every now and again 15 people from anywhere had to be given a ticket. So obviously all the murderers went up there and murdered everybody, and the place closed down. And I thought that sounds about right, you know, where people come in and spoil everything for everybody else. It's just brilliant.
Another thing at the end of the documentary that they pointed out, there's so many movies that have taken liberties from 2000 AD stories and adapted them and filmed them. And one of the movies they mentioned was The Book of Eli by Denzel Washington. That it's really obvious that it came from a 2000 AD type of world or a story or future shock somewhere that somebody expanded on or something like that. It's amazing the influence that you have out there doing popular media.
Yeah.
You know, because you never know who's going to reach. It's like doing this podcast. You never know who's going to be listening even a year or 5 years or 10 years from now, because it's always going to sit there and be archived for folks to find.
Yeah. And I also think it shows you that there's probably only about 5 ideas that you can write about. You just have to do variations on a theme, don't you? You know, I mean, there's not many things. There's the plot thing is just idea.
Yeah, you have basic plots if you want to strip everything down, but it's always it matters in the details.
Yeah.
You know, there's the big rule that I tell everybody is anytime you come up with an idea you think is original, there's 5 other people that have come up with the exact same idea at the same time. And it's a race. However you get it out there and who gets it out there first and the way you get it out there is what makes art and what makes you unique. Rich, you're drawing somebody screaming.
Yeah, I'm doing Stone Cold Steve Austin during the time in 1997 WrestleMania 13 because that's when he was fighting Bret the Hitman Hart and he made me bleed like a stuck pig, but I still came away the winner. He didn't knock me out. What?
That's so exacting.
I tried authenticity for any of my imitations, but I'll tell you right now, there's no way that Stone Cold Steve Austin would ever lose to Bret the Hitman Hart with his pig tutus and his dog-ass shades. What the hell is that? I don't care how much blood is on my face.
Rich, introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, I'm Rich. I draw stuff.
There you go. Comic Book Black Belt said that T-Rex ended up in Judge Dredd, Cursed Earth. Yeah. How he got there, we'll never know.
What?
This is great plot. Did McDonald's get involved? No. That was the Cursed Earth story, by the way, when they had the Burger Wars.
Oh my God. So they had a Cursed Earth Happy Meal? Holy shit.
They had a couple of episodes of Cursed Earth that they got a cease and desist on because they had a clown like Ronald fighting a king like the Burger King.
Love it.
Over here, you could have probably fought it off as satire, but I'm not sure how parody and satire laws work over in England. But it was enough to keep that story from being printed for quite a while.
Wow.
So they're still, in fact, they cut it out of the case files. That's the only omission from the case files running in strict order. Is they
Wow.
those two issues had to be dropped off, but they did do a Cursed Earth reprint volume. I think Titan or Rebellion did, that they put it back in for whatever reason. They must have decided to chase off that cease and desist and just stick it in there for accuracy's sake. But it was classic, and those progs were pretty valuable there for quite a while. They probably still are.
Yeah.
You have certain key issues and certain key things that bump up in price. I was amazed to see that, and happy, really, to see the collectability on those 2000s are still there. So there's a great Facebook group page also for 2000 AD if you ever are wandering around Facebook and want something to look at, especially if you're not familiar with 2000 AD as a comic.
I'm sure
go there and take a look.
I'm sure I got a box full of 2000 ADs from the early 80s. I should check it out and see what's going on with them.
I've got a bunch sitting around here too. I sold the majority of my collection because I really needed the money at the time, and had a guy who he was a lawyer for Ford Motor Company, drove up from Detroit and bought the whole box. And I almost had them all. I think I started at Prog 12 and had maybe like Prog 5, Prog 8. And then I ran at least 10 years worth of stuff.
Yeah.
So
to get a bigger house.
Oh, well, yeah. I've still got a box of them around here somewhere. That and a bunch of Eagles and all of the Star-Lords. I didn't sell the Star-Lords because I love those.
Yeah.
It was just
what Eagles have you got? Have you got the early ones? The 50s?
Not the real early ones. No,
Right.
I've got a couple of Dan Dare reprint volumes though from the early days.
Yeah.
That are just beautiful, and I couldn't tell you who the artist is on them. I think Bellamy did a little bit of them.
Right.
But there was a couple of other artists on it at the time as well.
Yeah. Frank Bellamy did. It was.
I'd have to go dig them up, but they're really pretty volumes. Black covers, just beautiful reprinted work.
Right.
Just phenomenal stuff. One of these days, and I've done this in the past before, where I've run through my library of stuff and just pulled out stuff I wanted to talk about, and for Sunday Funnies, and have pulled them up and, hey, take a look at this. This is amazing type of stuff. So
the Frank Hampson artwork is good. He's the one who created it, Frank Hampson, in the 50s.
Yeah, I think that's who did it. He's got a very Bellamy painted look to his stuff.
Yeah, Bellamy came after Frank Hampson, and then Frank Hampson created it, and some of that artwork is amazing. In fact, I could tell you a story about that. I think I might have told you before, where a friend of mine went to get some artwork. They were throwing some artwork away in London from a publisher, and he found out. So he said, "Well, what are you doing with this artwork?" And he said, "It's just in the skip." So he said, "Can I have it?" And he said, "Yeah." And he went down and got it, and he went into their archive, and the door to the room where the artwork was being held that he was taking was wedged open with a piece of board. So he saw that it had a drawing on it. So he pulled this, it was folded up, like a wedge to stop the door closing. And he pulled it out and opened it up, and it was an original Frank Hampson Dan Dare page.
Oh, man.
Somebody was using to prop up the door.
Yeah. That's in that documentary too. That's Future Shock over on IMDb. Right. They were talking about, there was a while there for 2000s. They were throwing original art down to wipe their feet on.
Yeah.
Just insane.
It's
just
madness,
crazy. They did the same thing at Marvel for many, many years. They would somebody would come and visit Marvel. Hey, you want a piece of original art? This is actually printed in a funny book. Take it home with you.
Yeah.
What?
It's like
thousands of
dollars now.
I read somewhere that somebody was asking where the artwork for Superman, Action Comics, whatever it was, Superman #1 was, and they said obviously it's long gone. But whoever it was asking the question said, what would have happened to it? And they said that if some kid wrote a letter and just happened to write a letter in because nobody wrote to them, they'd send him a piece of original artwork. So the question was, nobody knows, or nobody's saying, did some 12-year-old kid who wrote a letter get the cover for Action Comics, whatever it was, with Superman on? And what did he do with it? He probably colored it in, with his pencils.
Well, the first couple of issues were photostats anyway, off of the originals, cut and pasted together into comic pages, because they originally did it as a comic strip and couldn't sell it to anybody.
Wow.
And then
There you
Gaines
go.
said, "Yeah, I guess we'll print it." MC did,
Wow.
and decided to give it a chance, and didn't realize how big a book Action 1 would be.
Yeah.
I was also startled to learn Marvel Comics 1 had a double printing. It was initially had a 90,000 print run, and then they sold out so fast they went and did a 900,000 print run.
Oh, wow.
And that sold through. They just had a Marvel
Wow.
Comics 1 sell for a crazy amount that was slabbed not too
Wow.
long ago. Million three, something like that.
Wow.
So
That's crazy, isn't it?
never saw the value in slabbing until
No.
just recently, because some of these books really need to be preserved, you know, and they've been reprinted so much. You can just buy a reprint book of it to read the actual material.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sometimes some of the stuff, you know, you get a 9.5. I think the biggest, the most valuable Action Comics is a 9.8 that they had slabbed. Somebody found up there in their attic when their house was being repossessed. And this was just the last 5 or 6 years ago. No, around 2000, 2008, 2009, back when we had the housing bubble here burst. It was a parent's house. The parents had passed. The family was going through it. They couldn't keep the house because they were out of money. So they were emptying the house out for to sell. And they were up in the attic and found a chest of drawers. They pulled out a chest of drawers, and there was a stack of old 1930s Hollywood magazines sitting there.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And they were going through the Hollywood magazines, and wedged in the middle of one of them was an Action 1.
Oh.
And they
Holy
had no
shit.
idea. They had no idea what it was. Absolute, you know, like I said, it came out 9.8, 9.5, something. It's the highest rated Action that they've ever seen. Pages were white because the attic was always dry, that kind of thing. They took it to a comic shop, and the comic shop went, you know, what, you know, so they called CGC.
I'll give you $1 for it, he said.
No. They said, hey, dude, you know, they ended up sending what would you call it? A convoy and an armored car out to pick it up, to bring it back to CGC to get it graded and preserved. So the headlines, once the thing went up for auction, Superman saves family home.
Brilliant.
Jeez. And it ended up going for like 10 million, I think. 10 million.
Million.
Yeah. Just some crazy amount, because nobody had seen one that pristine before. So everybody, of course, every Superman collector who could afford it wanted it. So
10 million.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised. They had a slabbed copy. I was watching a video of Pawn Stars, if you know what that show is. This guy who's got a pawn shop in Las Vegas.
Right.
So everybody comes in and sells stuff, and he offers ridiculously low prices for it, because he knows they're just going to take that money out to the casino and gamble the shit out of it. So he takes, you know, sometimes it's like a unscrupulous retailer, you know, and it's a family business. They're on like their third generation of people that have owned that shop in Vegas, because when you're hooked on gambling, you take whatever you can out to the pawn shop and pawn it, right? Yeah. They had somebody bring in a Werewolf by Night 38 that was slabbed. And that's the first appearance of Moon Knight.
Holy shit.
And brought it in slabbed at a 8.5 or 8.9, something like that. And the kid that looked at it says, I have no idea who the werewolf even is, or who this guy dressed in white is that calls himself the Moon Knight. I had no idea who this is. So of course they have a set of experts that they call to come in on different memorabilia and stuff, to come in and talk about it. It's really a historical show more than Life at a Pawn Shop show. So the guy comes in and looks at it, and he's ogling it. And this is a book I read as a kid, and he's ogling it and going, oh, look at this. I've got one in my collection slabbed, but it's only a 4-point-something, because they printed like next to none of these, and it's the first appearance of Moon Knight. Moon Knight's now going to be a streaming show, and that starts up at the end of the month. And the book value had gone up. They asked the woman what they wanted for it, and she said 60,000. And I'm like, 60,000, holy crap! You know, I couldn't believe that. And then the expert looked at it and says, "Ma'am, I think your estimate on that book is a little high." and the kid behind the counter, the guy who was actually in charge of the money, and he was a kid. It's like I said, third generation. Look at him and says, what is it worth? And the guy goes, I'd put a retail estimate right about 50,000. Are you kidding me? Holy crap. I think I've got that book sitting here in a long box down, unbagged, unboarded, definitely not an 8.5, probably closer to a 3 or a 2. But holy crap. I was looking at the wife and going, we're going to have to go through our long boxes now.
Yeah.
Start looking for stuff because it's been a while. So
I've got some autographed photographs of astronauts and things like that. And I took him to the shop for this who sold this memorabilia, and he said there's no, this is what he said to me. I mean, there was no way where this was going to happen. He said to me, I showed him what I've got, and he said there's no call for this. He said, I'll give you 20 quid.
Oh.
You know, I said yeah, stick a couple of notes on the end, and I might talk to you. You know,
it's like,
so
are you nuts? I've seen
careful.
Antiques Roadshow. What's wrong with you?
That's right. Yeah. So you know. And I took them to New York once and had them valued there in a real place, and they said they'd give me $3,000 there and then for them. But she advised me to keep hold of them, which I have done.
Yeah, because if she's offering you 3, she knows where she can get rid of them, or he knows where they can get rid of them for 6.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So I mean, she's obviously going to make her money back to start with. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So when I come over to New York next, I'm going to take them again and see what she says, because I might let her have them this time.
Well, here on this Pawn Stars, the kid passed on it. Said that it was way too rich for him, but at the most he would be able to offer was 25,000. But he can't. He's not even going to do that because he has no idea how he'd be able to move it.
Wow.
I mean, move it quick enough to get a fast return.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. When he said 25, I thought he was going to say $25.
Oh yeah, well, that you're talking to a guy that, you know, when Giant Size X-Men 1 come out, I bought it and read it and loved it, and it literally to shreds because it was in pieces by the time I was, because I love Cockrum and love everything that he's done. Yeah. I went to buy another copy at Motor City Con and was flabbergasted. I had to pay $8 for it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
An actual copy of Giant Size X-Men #1 from 1975.
77, I believe. Yeah.
I think it was 75, I think.
Was it 75? I'm sure you're better at dates. You're better at dates, especially at Marvel dates, than I am. So
it's not even that. I've just seen it. That was
oh no, this was kind
of my first
years ago though, Rich. This was years ago.
Oh, okay. Because that was my very first that was the what the hell was that? I think that was the very first time I've ever seen an X-Men comic book, period. I mean, I've seen a few other comic books before, but that's the first one that I've ever seen, Giant Size X-Men #1.
Oh, I was absorbing them at that point.
The
side appearance that Cyclops and Professor X and Marvel Girl did in Captain America was what really attracted me, and then I started picking up all the X-Men books. Actually, what really got me into the X-Men was the Captain America. There was a Captain America cartoon that had a group of the Marvel heroes in it back when they were cutting and pasting Jack Kirby's work.
Oh God, really?
Into cartoons. They had one scene with the X-Men in it flying in. It was some get together for all of the characters. Nice. And there were X-Men, and I'm like, who is that? Because I'd never seen those guys. A guy that was all ice and a guy with wings and just crazy stuff. We're going to add to the stream now with Mr. Scott Rosema. Scott.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, Scott Rosema.
That's a good comfy shirt you have on.
Yeah, it's my sleepy wear.
There you go. Looks comfy. Yeah,
that's right.
Introduce yourself, Scott, before I forget.
Yeah, the Susie sewed on the Superman patch because it was so blue, you know.
Oh yeah, too blue for her.
Just to indicate that.
She just wanted something to weigh the collar down so that she could admire your chest hair.
Yeah. See, I've got 3 or 4 of them growing here. It's kind of nice.
It's all good.
Like I've said before, I used to be in such physical shape that I could fit into a Superman suit, and I portrayed the son of Krypton. Now, as you can see, I just portray Krypton.
I always told everybody if I could, if I was to accurately cosplay anybody, it'd be Volstagg.
Oh, I have to admit, I was a little disappointed in the Thor films that they didn't make Volstagg more like he was in the comics. I always thought he was just awesome, that huge girth and all.
But they wouldn't want to upset people, would they?
No, apparently not.
Well, I don't know, because less than a few years later, they had Thor in a dad bod, so that
that's
so
true.
that
Yeah.
people could cosplay him at shows. Yeah, I'm dad bod Thor.
Oh,
yeah, okay, sure.
I had the wildest laughs when people would come up and they're in that long beard and that Big Lebowski bathrobe. It was just great.
Mm-hmm. Comic book black belts. It's Scott Rosema, my American spirit animal.
Hey, everybody.
Russ,
Marvel,
you
DC,
obviously
Archie,
can't come in, but we miss you, buddy. You need to be on the show. So
yeah,
you're probably pressed on deadlines. Russ is working on lots of stuff, and he's got stuff coming up that's just amazing work. But the one thing I can tell you he's working on is the Jodie Whittaker Doctor Who story for Doctor Who Monthly.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, what he does, he tells you he's working really hard, but he said, but I can't tell you what I'm doing.
That must be it. Yeah,
a real teaser, you know.
Yep. Well, no, I have an idea of at least one of the projects he's working on, and he honestly can't tell you what he's doing.
That's what I mean.
But everybody over there, especially, will see it come about May or so. So,
and that's his death can save us. So that was his thing. Yeah, boy, that was really neat.
Really Russ
neat.
Is great. Really is. Sugar Chris says, I had Werewolf by Night, where it's Iron Man and him fighting a giant robot crocodile man. Loved it. There's some great stuff back in those days, you know.
There was a lot of good stuff back in those days.
Oh, it's awesome.
Sup, Frog G. Again, thank you so much for being in the house. Frog G is loading us up with links. Thank you so much. Sin Killer says, what a great voice, Scott.
Well, hey, it's that, yeah.
Did you introduce you introduced yourself, Scott? Did Rich, did you ever introduce yourself?
No.
Okay, well, just stay there for a minute. Scott, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Longtime comic artist since '87. Marvel, DC, Archie, Valiant, Disney, Warner Brothers, DreamWorks, TSR Dungeons and Dragons, FASA, White Wolf. On and on and on.
He's also available for moving heavy objects as long as his back holds out.
That's true. That's true. I'm going to invest in those shoulder weight straps that those guys move stoves with. So I'll be able to get myself out of my own easy chair. It'll be awesome. I'll be able to hook up those, hooks and
nice.
Which reminds me, since it's Sunday morning, and I've got my special.
Russ says, "Shucks." Obviously,
I've got my special cup, which you'll see in a second here. Come on, turn off.
Batman, Superman.
I've never seen that insignia before.
We don't want to see. We don't want to see your Wonder Woman underoos. Don't even start.
Oh no,
I do.
It's gonna cost.
No, don't deny me. Is it $5 to see it and $10 to do something else with it, like in Boogie Nights and stuff?
Shoot, I realize I can't. This is a glow in the dark Batman cup with my morning.
Oh God, I thought you were gonna say glow in the dark something else. You nasty man, you.
That's just your mind at work, Rich.
That is my mind at work, and I relish it.
And hey, folks, we might actually be
all you want. You're not going to see it.
Why not, man?
I'm not.
It's my birthday. It's my birthday. It's my birthday.
Right, not a second.
It's my birthday. It's my birthday.
Dragon's got to get back to work. Nice seeing you.
See you later, Dragon.
Later, everyone. Thank you, Dragon, so much.
See ya.
Happy to be streaming. Long story, soon to be answered. So watch for my sign up page here soon on Indiegogo for there you go. For my book. I'm going to wait until I'm a little bit farther along when I can know I have a definite release date before I start the sign up page. So hang in there. It is coming along.
Have you finished it, Randy?
I haven't. No.
Okay.
No, I still have all of the dream sequences yet to go.
Right.
And a little bit of notation about my nursing home experiences and my I want to put a section in the back that I'm debating about doing that's opinion about what I went through. But I will probably do it just to make the work more personal.
Well, I would think,
learn so much.
Wow. Scott, I love your work, man.
Oh, who's talking now? I can't.
That would be this guy right here.
Oh, Richness. Oh, okay.
Yeah, man. How you doing? It's nice to meet you. I'm taking a look at some of your work. And yes, I Googled you because now I'm a stalker. And let me see, what have I got here? Yeah, man, you got really nice stuff. I really like it.
Yes, he does.
Oh, it's very Mike. Oh, look at that one. I'm looking at the Iron Man and Iron Fist. It looks like a commission you did.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure. And you had Bob Allman ink you on that one. Bob Allman inked that, it looks like.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, I've done just tons of commissions for people, and that one in particular was done for a guy that collects what he calls themed drawings, where he has 2 or more characters within a commission that have a commonality to them. So it was Iron Fist and Iron Man.
Yeah.
So I drew the 2 of them fighting and all this, and I initially did it just as a pencil, and because the guy likes the pencil stage of art. So
yeah, I don't blame him.
I sent it to him, and then of course I posted it and everything, and he loved it. And so I when I posted it, Bob got a hold of me and said, "Man, no, I think the guy got a hold of Bob and said, will you now ink this for me so I can have a Sky Roseman / Bob?"
Oh, are you serious?
So yeah, that was
man,
that's how that happened. But Bob,
that's awesome.
Yeah, he's a longtime buddy, and he said he was more than happy to fix my pencils with his ink. So that was
wow. He said that to you out loud. Holy crap, man!
I just assumed
he ain't much.
Exactly what he was thinking.
Did he say that to you over like a phone or something? Because Bob Allman's a skinny little jit, and if this is like back to the '80s when you were like big old Superman wear tighty whities and stuff like that, if you smacked him, he would have died. So I can only assume that he said it, with a comfortable distance of about maybe 5 or 6 time zones away from you, because that's exactly how I would approach it. But
trust me, if he had offended me, nothing would keep me from him.
I believe that wholeheartedly. This is excellent. This to me is like I was an inker from Marvel for a while. I inked. I inked for about 10 years, but I only stuck on a couple of titles for a longer term. I was kind of like if you know anything about baseball, I was like the closer, relief pitcher. And I wound up getting, no, I'm serious. It's like anybody who was late, I'd either get 5 pages here or 10 pages there or an issue here or whatnot. And that kept me going for quite some time. And actually,
when they couldn't reach the Krusty Bunkers or Vince Colletta, they called you, right?
I'm a hell of a lot better than Vince Colletta. Vince Colletta can F himself back.
Don't even think that I was comparing you to him.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying. But yeah, no, I got a lot of work.
I feel the same way about him that you
Bob.
did, so.
Oh yeah, Bob Allman he's really a great guy.
Yeah.
I've read into him on many numerous occasions, and he was a really good choice to ink this. This is fantastic stuff, man. Just this.
Well, I appreciate that.
That does great work.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. You impressed me with your work, sir.
Bob is an inker of the highest order, obviously, and the guy is so dedicated.
He's good. He's good.
He's so dedicated to his craft.
Maybe that's true, but there's only one inker that I know. There's one inker that's above everybody else. That would be the immortal Keith Williams.
Oh, Keith Williams.
Williams. Oh, yeah. I mean,
yeah, the immortal Keith Williams, not just Keith Williams. The immortal Keith Williams. He taught me everything I know, so he is the immortal Keith Williams.
Okay.
Now he has a title. I didn't know that.
He's had a title for a long time.
And
I'm surprised no one knew about it.
Well, we do now.
They will now know. They will know.
Now, as long as we're
yes, sir,
spreading the love around here,
yes, sir.
I don't think Glenn. I don't think you and I have ever officially met via the Ethernet.
Interwebs.
I think
the interwebs with all the old people and stuff.
I think we've been on one show, Scott, or maybe you came on just as I was going off, but I do remember seeing you. But anyway, It's me. How are you?
Very good. Hey,
anytime you want to see Glenn's work, go over to Amazon and type in Glenn with 2 N's, B Fleming with 1 M.
Yeah.
And all of his books will pop up.
Oh, yeah. I've been a fan for a long time, Glenn. Very good.
Bunch of
very
stuff.
good work.
Have you? Okay, cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But you want to get the latest? Let's plug again. This is the latest. This is on Indiegogo right now.
Right now.
And you also get a DVD of me talking with Jack in his house.
Oh, no kidding! How long is that?
Kidding.
It's about an hour long. This disc is about 2 hours long. There's other stuff on it with me yakking on about how I got there and everything. But it's got, I think it's about 45 minutes of me talking with Jack in his studio.
No, is that a DVD or just audio?
It's a DVD.
Oh, no kidding! Wow.
You can watch him, you can see him, and you can listen to his voice. And when you hear his voice, you'll know who the thing is.
Oh God, yes,
right.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And this is a companion book that I wrote, which has the transcript of the film in it, and also a transcript of a Q&A that was held when it was first released, which is on the DVD as well. And
Nice.
This goes into more detail of how I actually got to meet him. And it's it's just got
him and Roz. He spent a couple of afternoons there.
Oh wow! Look at that.
And it's got a fantastic foreword written by a certain Randy Zimmerman. And
really?
Is that the one you wrote the forward for?
Some weirdo. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just having lunch with the king there after I managed to, so yeah, check that out.
Isn't that great?
The
envy of everyone. Yeah.
You have to kind of give a little insight as to how you came about to do that, how you felt spending that time with Jack.
That's in the book.
It's all in the book. It's all in there. Everything's in there.
It's really a historical note about a visit to a historical person.
Yeah.
About what year was that you did that?
The book?
No, when I went through your visits,
1988 and 1991.
Okay, so it was not too long before he passed away.
That's right. The last one was just 94. He died, didn't he? So a couple of years before that, yeah.
Okay.
But it was really great talking to him because I went with the I didn't go to interview him. I knew he liked to tell his story, so I just let him talk. And that's what he does. Nice. And he talks about his service in the war and when he was a kid and all this kind of stuff. It's really interesting. It's really interesting.
Wow. Did he draw for you while you were there?
No. Okay. And I didn't ask him either. I couldn't be that rude. You know?
Yeah.
But he did sign a lot of stuff for me, which I've still got. So it was great. Yeah. But his wife was the best. Roz Kirby was just fantastic woman.
Yeah, I've always heard that she's just a number one ace person.
Yeah, they were a fantastic couple. Yeah, they really were a good unit. She let him draw and she took care of everything else. And she's just a great woman, just a really, really great woman.
Wasn't it true that she did most of the driving, even because Jack was always so preoccupied with creative?
Yeah, there's a story in there where he crashed into the back of a police car. He's thinking about some story, and the policeman got out. Obviously, I think they were stopped at a light, and Jack didn't stop, and he rammed his back on the backside of the car, and the policeman got out and said to him, "I don't believe you did that. I don't believe you did that." So Jack thought he was saying, "Oh, forget it, drive off." So he started to drive off. So after that, awesome. I think Roz wouldn't let him drive into the city or anywhere after that. I think she took care of it.
Oh my God!
Yes, really.
Oh my God, that's too good.
Yeah. But the best thing about it is, one of the best things about it is that he looked at my work while I was there and gave me an appraisal on it, and there he is discussing it with it on his desk. That's my work on his desk there.
Oh.
And he gave me a few pointers and everything, and it was fantastic. Yeah, it's all on there.
Oh my God, worth getting everybody.
I would think.
Yeah,
so,
and there's only 4 days left on that campaign. The Frog G has been generous enough to put that link in the chat.
Oh, you've got a crowdfunder going for right now.
Yeah,
it's right there. Yep.
It's on Indiegogo right now.
Jack Kirby, A Personal Journey, Words and Pictures on Indiegogo right now.
Nice.
So go to Indiegogo, just type in Jack Kirby, and it'll be right there.
Oh my God, that's great. How's the funding going?
Only 4 days left. Frog G says hop on that.
It's I got to go within I think the first day, but it's slackened off now. But I just need.
It always does.
There's 4 days to go, so we'll see if anybody suddenly comes in right at the end.
And you've had it going for what, 30 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
But it cleared on the first day. I think it was around about that.
It's a fantastic package. It's really a great book. Yeah.
Sounds phenomenal.
Great book.
So, just on a quick,
thank you.
just on a quick personal note, what was that, Rich? What did you do?
That was Rich.
I was stretching.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, Rich.
No, that's later. That's later tonight.
All right. Okay.
All right, just to making sure, we have a very decent audience here.
When
It's
I
only
can't-
Sunday morning, folks.
when
Only
I
Sunday
can't-
morning. Got to give it a
you
little
know,
bit of time.
Sunday
if I
afternoon,
can't
where
hear-
Rich and Glenn are.
Well, it's 5:00 somewhere.
Always.
Yeah, maybe on Mars. But
Yeah.
no.
Well, no, actually, if you must know, it's 5:00 right now in Addis Ababa. So learn your
Ababa.
geography. Yeah, that's right.
think
I know
it's
my
Bruce.
geography.
I think it's Bruce.
I think it's a Bermoose. Hey, are we going to Addis Ababa, Mr. Luthor?
Oh, Lord, you give them eyes, but they cannot see.
Not see.
Nor can
Superman
Lead.
through lead.
Yeah, that movie had such great dialogue.
Yes, it did.
Oh God, I mean,
Yes, it did.
what's his Gene Hackman was
Gene
just
Hackman,
Yeah.
awesome. Oh my God, he was awesome.
the greatest character actor in Hollywood ever had.
Oh my God,
The greatest character actor.
And
As-
Valerie
well,
Perrin
almost-
looked pretty good
well-
as well.
Who, what?
Slightly better than Walter Matthau.
Valerie Perrin looked pretty nice as well.
oh my gosh.
Yes.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Valerie Perrin looked really good in that film.
Oh,
as
she
well.
was hot. Hot as
Yeah.
fuck.
Lex,
Honestly.
my mother lives in Hackensack.
My mother lives in Hackensack. I don't know if her boobs were talking at
Look
that
us
moment.
watching it. Mm.
Yes, they were.
Yeah. Her
It's
boobs
just
were.
like, "Ah!"
She might have been saying something, but her boobs were definitely talking.
Yeah, her boobs are definitely talking. I was like, well, all right, I was like 9 when that came out, and I was just like, how are those magical Valerie Perrine boobies talking to me? How is
Oh,
that possible?
You should watch Lenny.
Slaughterhouse 5.
Oh God, Lenny,
Oh, really?
Lenny,
I don't think
Lenny
I've seen
Bruce. That was
Lenny
about
Bruce,
Lenny
yeah.
Bruce, right?
Yeah, she's
Okay.
in that.
Oh, she
She's
is.
in-
She's
really
really
in
in that.
Slaughterhouse 5, though.
Yeah.
Nice.
Displayed in all her glory. I assume.
That's the movie you want to see. Yeah,
Wow, I'm happy now.
not just for that, but for it. It's really a great film.
You have to admit, there's nothing
I have
better than
become unstuck in
1970s
time.
boobs.
Yeah.
Nothing better than 1970s movie boobs. They were the best.
1984 was a pretty good year for me. So
Well, what was so great about 1984 with the boobs?
Oh no! See, you haven't been paying me every month, so I'm not going to tell you.
Ooh,
Cut off the payments, you cut off the story.
selfish,
Sorry.
selfish man.
Sorry.
Ah, no, you're not.
Business is
If you were
business.
sorry, you would have done it. Ugh.
I maybe, but
can't.
I'm long
I
past
can't.
that. I'm no longer charitable with my boob stories.
What?
Boobs
Oh.
are awesome. Keanu Reeves. Yes. Thanks, Marty, for that.
Ooh, Valerie
Probably
Perrine's
said
boobs
that
are
from his
awesome.
toilet seat too. Yeah.
Larry Hagman was the luckiest man in that movie. And the second to Christopher Reeve, because it's like vigorous chest massage and mouth to mouth.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I wouldn't do anything that I wouldn't have my men do. Nice.
Larry
I guess
Hagman,
Jeannie
boy.
wasn't around. That could have been the reason why he was like all hard up or something. I wonder if he played Major Healy in that movie.
Well, if it were up to the Salkinds, he probably would have. But luckily, Richard Donner still had enough say that he kept the movie above board. So,
it's funny you say that, because I actually had the temerity to watch the restored version of the sequel, Superman 2, where there was a lot of things that made a whole bunch more sense in the second movie.
Oh, and the Donner cut.
Yes,
Yeah.
the Donner
Yeah.
cut. The Donner
Yeah.
cut was fantastic. Even
Yeah.
they had that footage where what was it, Lois Lane, where that test footage or that practice footage where Lois Lane shot Superman to prove that he was Superman. If that made it into that didn't make it into the movie, of course, but I had no idea that they had so much of it, and they shot 75% of the movie before Richard Donner was removed, and then replaced with Richard Lester, and he had to do a reshoot.
Yeah.
Almost
Oh, wow.
similar to the way that Joss Whedon had to reshoot
Justice League.
what was, Zack Snyder's Justice League. And it's like, what goes through producers' heads whenever you see anything like that? Because it's like, I mean, for the Donner cut, it makes complete and total sense that Lois Lane would surmise pretty quickly that Clark Kent is Superman. she's not stupid by any stretch of the imagination.
And what a great sequel to the original film that would have been.
That would have been much better than the first one.
It really got into the human side of things. So.
It did. It really did.
How did they get on with the reshoot with actors? He might have signed up to do something else. When
they didn't reshoot. Like all the stuff was already there.
Oh, do you mean re-edit then?
Yeah, they just brought Lester in on set. Yeah,
they brought Lester in despite Richard Donner because he was clashing with them that much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All kinds.
So
sadly, it became more of an effects movie, and they concentrated more on the fight with the Kryptonians and Superman, and all of those effects, none of them hold up.
No, none of them do. Well, not just that. Richard Lester's a comedy director. Yeah. He's not an action director. He's a comedy director.
He was gonna have a scene where Superman swoops down to a street, seeing a bald guy, thinking he's Lex Luthor, and he picks him up, and it's Telly Savalas. And Telly Savalas turns back to Chris Reeve and says, "Who loves you, baby?" And that was going to be in there, but luckily,
what?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Ew! It's like going to a Nickelback concert 2 nights in a row.
From the desk of a small press publisher, Scott Rosema, the boob stories dealer. Sample is free,
that's right,
but a real hit will cost you.
Unbelievable!
Hey,
why are you so selfish with the boob stories, there, Scott?
Okay,
that is wrong.
All right, I'll tell you one.
One is fine. That's all right. I let me get the vein.
Well,
all right. I'm good. I'm ready.
This isn't really a boob story, but it's just as good.
Oh boy!
There was a time that Susie and I had an ongoing art studio here in Muskegon.
Okay.
And it was back just about when the economy took a dump in 2008. But anyway, our sign was this big winged tiger and everything. Everybody thought it was a tattoo shop because it was such outrageous signage. But anyway, I had 2 girls come in, and they looked, well, let's put it this way, on those wilder sides of the tracks is where they might have come up. And they came in, and this one girl turns to me and says, "I thought you guys did tattoos here." And I said, "Well, I can design them. I just can't do the ink. I don't do the application, but I can design them." And she says, "Oh, hey, if that's the case," and she reaches down to her pants and jerks her pants down just to above the line.
Woo!
Really, and she says, "Can you do anything with this?" And there was a tattoo there between her belly button and the pubic hair. Nice. And I'm looking. I'm kind of not looking. I'm kind of not looking. I said, "Well, I could probably do something." She goes, "What do you think? Isn't this cool?" And I keep thinking, "Are you talking about the tattoo, or are you talking about the region?" I'm not sure, because she's just. Oh God, it was just hilarious. And the thing about it is that Susie wasn't there at the time. She was out running an errand. So I'm here in the studio alone, staring over the counter at this girl's nether regions, almost. And she says, "Well, I'd like to take this tattoo and really do something special with it. Can you do anything special with this?" Yeah. She's just lobbing these innuendos at me like crazy. Nice. So I eventually said, yeah, and I took a picture, and it was just wow.
Understanding why it's wonderful.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
So next time I'll tell you another actual real boob story.
It's going to be a weekly boob story. Yes, weekly boob stories.
That's not what we need here on Sunday Funnies, but it is right.
It is always
Scott Rosema's weekly boob stories.
You can save that for Wednesday. We can make it a regular. We can make it a regular feature on the Zimcast if you want.
Yeah, nice. Let's make it. The boob story. The boob story.
I'll even do up a little card that says Rosema's boob story.
Love it. Love it.
What do you think? If you're game for it, I'll do it.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Yes,
and we'll have you there shirtless.
Scott Rosema's boob stories. I love it. This is better than Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Holy shit, this is awesome.
Frog G has a shameless self-promotion that we want to promote over on Indiegogo right now. Look for Voodoo Gods and Magic.
Okay.
Over there, we are deeply appreciative of Frog Z, and we will happily help him selflessly self-promote at any opportunity.
Oh,
and I want to just jump back for a
second. Valerie Perrine is 78 now.
And she's probably still hotter than a lot of the girls.
I bet she is.
I wouldn't
She
doubt
probably
like,
is, man.
like Linda Carter. They just
I was just
when
going to
they
say,
age, they age
Linda
incredibly
Carter's
fast.
any indication. She's But real quick, I
Oh.
want to jump back and say,
I have a deep weakness for Helen Mirren now. I found. So.
Oh, are you kidding? So do I. Oh my God.
Helen Mirren is immortal. I mean,
Yeah.
She is immortal.
awesome.
God.
Wonderful person.
Oh my goodness gracious, she's gorgeous.
Nine Realms Publishing made a comment a few moments back.
That's just after all the promotion Frog G has done for us all. The least we can do is sign up for his pre-launch. Yes.
And I really hope he's doing well, because when he did that, shoot,
Michael, I would have you on, but I really need to end things at the 11 o'clock mark today. And
where are we at?
I told we got a half an hour yet, but I told Michael I'd have him on soon on another show.
Okay.
So it's not that we don't want to have him on, but I keep hoping Roland would come on here for a second. He promised that he would show up and promote Silverline, but he is out on a bike trail currently. Yeah, he's still on his bike somewhere. He's down in Florida. We wish you well, Roland. And Tim, you can be as mad at Roland as you need to be. That's my message to Tim. Tim was on our Sunday show last week, and Tim lives in Oregon. So he got up at an ungodly hour, like 4 or 5 in the morning, in order to be on our program last week.
Wow.
And he says, well, the least Roland can do is get up at 9 or be here at 9. So
that's dedication.
He forgot, and I forgot to tell him. I forgot to remind him, or he wouldn't have gone biking. So Mike says, no worries, Randy, you're fine. Thank you, Michael, very much.
Okay. Now, real quick, if I could, just one thing, Randy, are we are you all set now past COVID? Are you you said they just okayed you for driving the other day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Now, are you all vaccinated now, or
no? I still have antibodies though.
Oh, I see.
So the doctor my physician kind of yelled at me and says, if you ever start feeling symptoms again, you call me. But I should be good for a little bit, unless there's some really stray, bizarro variant that's super heavy that springs up. But
let's hope not.
My personal physician is really heavy into CPACs, and she doubled my zinc, gave me a vitamin D pill, along with a couple of other vitamins to take all the time in order to boost up my immune system until I'm back to normal. I'm still not back to normal. I'm still doing physical therapy 2 or 3 times a week.
Gotcha.
But I am walking, and I'm walking around the house without a cane. I'm walking long distances with a 4-wheeler if I have to have it.
Gotcha.
Now, or a cane for shorter distances. Yeah.
Is there a vaccine in your future to plan against it?
No, but the white pills, the Pfizer has got a white pill coming out soon. That's more effective than the vaccines are.
Gotcha.
It's currently being mass manufactured. It's got like I think it's an 85 to 90% success rate. It's a 5-day regimen. In case you start feeling the symptoms, you go and you get this 5-day regimen and you take that. So
okay.
The our physician didn't want us to get vaccinated, one, because of our age, and which, and 2, the wife's immune system is very compromised, and she did not want her to take the chance with the 2-hitter. If I did go get a vaccine, it would have been the Johnson & Johnson, because that's, in my mind, that's a true vaccine. But then we start talking about science and stuff that we shouldn't be talking about on Sunday Funnies. We're here to talk about the more lighthearted and whimsical side of stuff. But I definitely have an opinion on it that I'll probably put in my book. So,
okay, you should.
Now, speaking of funny books, I have been I'll be pushing my little funny book too here in a minute. But one thing I thought would fit well into the topic for today is that somebody has been publishing on Facebook a weekly installment of the original Wayne Boring Sunday strips of Superman. And they're just awesome. I just love that stuff. And these are really pristine copies of the Sunday strips off of some newspaper. And it's just, oh God, it's so cool.
Do you know John Celestri at all?
Not right off the bat.
Handlebar mustache, animator doing.
Oh yeah,
crowdfunding work.
yeah. Okay.
He worked with Wayne for a while.
Oh, did
and,
he really?
And yeah, Wayne
Wow.
ended up giving him an illustration at one point.
Oh,
That's nice of him.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, I see some of Wayne's work and some of Kurt Swan's pencil work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just
which nobody sees often enough anymore.
No.
Oh, no,
I haven't seen a Kurt Swan page in a long, long time.
I spent a good majority of my very, very, very early youth copying Kurt Swan's work because that was Superman. I mean, that was.
Now that you mention that, I can see a bit of that in your style.
It really influenced me, you know, and I'm glad for that because Kurt Swan was the consummate draftsman. I mean, he was solid anatomy, wonderful proportions. You know, he wasn't, nothing was really that weird for him, and he was
illustrator.
Oh yeah, very, very much. Right, because Wayne Boring, he tends to make Superman a bit too barrel chested, like strong.
That's part of the charm of his work, though.
Oh yeah,
it's awesome. Like talking about Dick Sprang's Batman. There's just a charm to it that you can't get past. Just a beautiful style, wonderful charm.
Yeah, really.
Boring's the same way. Yeah.
And it was just and God, Kurt Swan did Superman for what, 30 years? I mean, it was just amazing.
A crazy number of years.
And circling back to you, Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
Up there in that corner.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of studying of Jack's work. And I don't know if you guys can see it from back there, but I've got a copy of the artist edition of Forever People. One of the big
Yeah.
Oh, it's just amazing the fact that what Jack would do. And just, I guess Marv Wolfman and two of those classic writers from the 70s and 80s. They said when they were kids, they would go visit Jack in New York and literally sit at his feet as he drew.
Yeah.
And they said he would start in one corner and just pencil the whole thing out down to the bottom corner.
Yeah. Roz said to me that it was like he was tracing it, like he was already on the page and he just ran his pencil over it.
Oh,
but when I went, and you'll read it in the book, they took me into a separate room from the studio, and he just received a shipment from Marvel and DC of artwork, and it was piles and piles of artwork. And Ross said to me, "Open some." Now,
oh my God,
Jack hadn't seen these pages since he sent them into the office, and I was pulling out Kid Colt from 1961 and 62, and all this Fantastic Four pages. That he only got a few of those. But on the wall,
they were giving them away and using them for whatever back then. Yeah,
they were using them for deals, weren't they, and stuff.
Yeah.
On his wall near the studio, and little hallway through to his studio was the cover of Fantastic Four 100, the original artwork.
Oh my God!
And it was framed on the wall. And Ross said to me, "Look closely at it," and somebody had ripped it in half. And put it in the envelope and sent it back, ripped in half, and they got it professionally restored.
Oh my God!
But you can still see, you can just see that little line. If you look, you can see it. And when you see reprints of the artwork, sometimes you can see it.
Oh,
obviously, but I opened up New Gods pages, all sorts of stuff, and I couldn't believe it because Jack hadn't seen this stuff, like I said, since he sent it into the office, or however he took it in, or whatever he did with it.
A couple decades back before you last seen it. Oh my God!
Then there was some Machine Man stuff in there, and all different kinds of stuff. It was just one, and I was holding this stuff, just wonderful stuff.
Oh, I would. Oh, I'm a huge fan of your experience, Glenn. That would have just been. Oh,
and in case we haven't seen Fantastic Four number 100, the cover.
I'll bring it up.
Which I had to dig up here just a second. Let me stop my screen. Let me share my screen. I had a good picture of it. Just popped in here.
Rich, by the way, you're doing pretty good in that drawing.
Oh, my gee, thanks. There you go.
Yeah.
Stone Cold, what?
There we go.
Oh, God. That's awesome.
Here, let me blow that up a little bit. Look at that.
Oh.
Just phenomenal stuff.
Was that Sinnott inking him, or was that Giosia?
Yeah, Joe Sinnott.
The Sinnott, yeah. Oh, God.
Look at that. That's an illustration right there.
Oh, my God.
But I tell you, a claim to fame I got when I was there was Jack said to me, he said to me, "You see what I see," and I took him some pages. If you can show those, Randy, if you don't mind.
Oh,
Give me just a second here. Stop my screen and
I took him some pages of my work that I was working on at the time.
Yeah,
and you know, those actual pages, which I still have, were sitting on his desk, on his drawing board, you know. And to have him, and the biggest test was Ros gave me an art critique as well, and that was tougher to take than what Jack said. I mean, Jack said neither of them said bad things, but to have her sitting looking at this stuff, and there's a photograph of her with me sitting next to her in the book, and she's looking through this stuff, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what's she going to say, you know? but they were very positive about it. It was great.
That's great to hear. You know, Jack was he was such a gentleman from what I understand.
Yeah. He was great.
And I've always wanted to think that that's the route that I always wanted to take in terms of being nice to you know, young folks or, you know, or beginners or whatever, because, you know, to me, it's not just about what you're doing, how it's going to go forward, but how you kind of lay the path behind you. For anybody else to come up, you know, after you. And
so very true.
Well, the thing was that when I arranged to go and meet him, I thought I'd go for about an hour. I thought that would be long enough for them. I mean, I'd have still been there if I could, you know. But I ended up having lunch with them. Well, that was the first hour, and I was there for another 5 or 6 hours in the studio, just talking, and just went out to the pool and just looked at everything and just all this artwork and everything, you know. And Ross said to me, it's going to take them months to sort out this artwork. I said, well, if you give me a bed and some food, I'll leave my work over in the UK and I'll stay here and do it. and I would have done as well. But
I imagine. Oh God!
I think they got Greg Theakston in and Mike Thibodeau to go through all that stuff.
Oh, I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? My God!
Yeah.
There'd have been a line.
Yeah,
there'd have been a line.
Just give me a bed and food, and you have to pay me. I'll just sit and look at it.
I won't shower.
Scott,
I won't, you know.
Scott, we're in the final minutes of our program. You need to talk about your book.
I do. Okay. All right. Now that we got a few minutes,
I'm blowing you up there.
Okay.
There you are.
All right.
Take it.
Now, this is, as you can see, Errantry, which personally for me, I think is one of the greatest names for a comic book. And a real quick history. Back in 1980, when I was just a young pup, I was with some friends, and Michael Poe is the guy that really started all this. This was his comic book, and I wish to heck I could find one of the original copies of the original comic we did back in 1980. It was a small press. It was 8.5 by 11, folded in half, black and white, printed on this color paper on the cover. And then it was just what this says, Errantry, the adventure magazine.
They'd call that an ash can, right?
Yeah, back then. That's what
it was an ash can, yeah.
The adventure magazine of fantasy and sword and sorcery. Because we were all huge fans of Conan and Lord of the Rings and all kinds of great stuff. And so we did that book back then, 24 pages, black and white. And what this is my reviving the book and bringing it out again with everything redone. But it has the same content. This pinup here and this inside front cover, this is a more evolved version of what was in there to begin with. The contents page had this layout to it, but didn't have the color, didn't have the professional typography. We were using typewriters back then to create the typing, the words, the text.
That's back when you'd press a key and it'd come up on the paper.
Oh, by God, I'm telling you. And then, I had some friends of mine and I who they're just exquisite, wonderful artists. They did this pinup for me on here and did this whole story here, and it dealing with these fantasy worlds you created. There's some of my story in there. Barbarian and samurai, team up to destroy this evil king, and it's just let me see here. It's the more evolved versions of pinups that were in the original book. That's all my art there. And it's just
sword and sorcery fantasy fun.
Oh God, yes. Oh, swords and
I
swords.
see a Pegasus there. Yeah.
Magic. Oh yeah, this was
You got the unicorn?
the
Was
original.
that girl based on Linda Carter?
Say that again, Glenn.
Was that girl based on Linda Carter you just showed?
Well, just about everything I do is based a little bit on Linda Carter. But it was originally the black and white pinup was originally done by Michael Poe, and I just redid it. So yeah. But the thing is, that Ascension of the Unicorn story that was done originally in the first book, in black and white and all this. And again, I rewrote it as now a 2-page fable. And I had another professional illustrator provide the unicorn illustrations, and it's very, very all real positive, lighthearted and all this. And then the other buddy of mine, the first guy, he redid the story in the front, which was he did this great effect to make it look like old newsprint.
Yeah,
had that old newsprint faded look to it. So Anthony Carpenter was that artist, did a phenomenal job. Then my other buddy, Jack Snyder, who did the original story, The Ballad of St. Judd, in the first iteration in 1980 when he was just a teenager. Now, years later, as a full-grown adult professional, he redid it into this, and it just looks great. And it's just...
That package there looks a bit dodgy on that guy.
What's that?
That package on that guy looks a bit dodgy when he's walking on that splash page.
Well, Jack doesn't skimp. I know.
That's because his package is dodgy. Yeah.
All right, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like the host and the co-host here are too busy. I mean, forget about like the imagery and all that stuff. They're all like, "Hey, look at his package. Look, we're going to bring all of our attention to his penis." Wow.
When that's all you can see, that's all you can see.
Well, yeah, if I was up close, maybe, but it's like I'm too busy fixated on Valerie Perrine's tits.
What a great face!
Light tan colored leather pants. They're not. They're.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway,
God help me.
We got a dragon pinup by me in the back, and it's just the whole thing is just very, very cool. It has all kinds of there's a imagine of a knight riding a frog, and it's just. And
what fantasy book wouldn't be complete if you didn't have a picture of a knight riding a frog?
Hello, am I? You're right.
Right.
But on the back cover is the editorial by Michael Poe. He rewrote it for this book 42 years later. And as the publisher of the book now, which I just claimed it because I'm the one doing all the work, I've got a publisher's page here that explains a little bit more about where it came from and why we're doing it and all this. But
how can they get the book?
Well, that's the thing. I didn't do crowdfunding. I just paid for it myself. I got a couple thousand copies. I'm going to be at many different places.
I know the feeling.
What's that?
I know the feeling about 4 times over.
Yeah. I've got a whole list of places that I'm going to be doing signings at, both conventions and stores.
All right, list off your next month or so's worth of appearances.
Okay, the whole month of April is going to be taken up. April 2nd in Tardy's Collector's Corner store in Grand Rapids and in Allegan. Then I'm going to be at the Grand Rapids Comic-Con, the Spring Fling, which happens April 8 through 9. Then I'm going to be at the Comic Signal store in Grand Rapids on the 16th. And then I'm going to be down in Holland at the Tulip City Comic-Con.
That's Holland, Michigan.
Yes. And then
at the Tulip Festival.
I was thinking of taking a boat trip over to the Netherlands, but
I'm just making clarification because we get listeners from all over the place. So.
Okay. Yeah. April 30th, I'm going to be at the Argos bookstore in Grand Rapids doing a signing.
Mm-hmm.
So every weekend in April, it's taken up with me doing the signing for it.
Cool.
And when we go off the air, Randy, you said that you give me some tips and tricks about how to get the physical book out to other places. You said
yep, and we're going to have to do that at another time because my wife's right upstairs. She's counting the clock down to 11 o'clock, and then she's coming to get me.
All right, she's got that rod and hood, the rod.
It's her birthday weekend, and we have plans. So one more time, Scott, tell folks how they can get a hold of you.
I'm currently loitering about my Facebook page, just Scott Rosema on Facebook. So I got to do. And I'm mostly loitering around there. And I'm trying to show up at all these different podcasts that people are doing around here.
And we'll see more of Scott here in the future. So
a lot more, baby.
Well, maybe not more that way, but
no.
Anyway, Rich, how can folks get a hold of you?
I am going to relaunch the Richness Art Show on my YouTube channel. So if you just go to YouTube, type in the Richness, you'll get to see over 100 videos of me drawing anything and everything live for at least an hour every day or every other day.
Sweet.
Oh boy.
Yes,
just like what you've been doing here today. Glenn, how
just
can
like
find you?
just yeah, this I just it was what was it? A couple of blue lines and then poof, here I am.
Yeah, there you are. And we couldn't even see the blue line, so you looked amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Well,
really
thank you, sir. Thank you. It's
Okay.
all smoke and mirrors on my end.
That's
yeah,
it.
you can get me on Amazon.
Regularly.
Just type in my name on Amazon. You get all my books and magazines there if you want to check it out. Or if you want to talk to me, just message me on Facebook. But go to Indiegogo and sign up for this. Get this 4 days to go.
Gotcha.
A unique piece of comics history. Even though I say it myself. Yeah, mainly on Amazon. You'll see me on Amazon.
You gotta be your best salesman, Glenn. Yep. No doubt.
Marby says Jack and Ross were great role models. We don't have that these days in mainstream. Just idiots.
That is true.
I take
Comic book black belt. Gotta love a great cod piece. Yeah. Absolutely. Frog G, look, I was young and needed the money.
Didn't earn much though, did you?
And again, Frog G has put the Long Shots campaign link in the chat. Deeply appreciate you, Frog G, for doing that. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Sin Killer says, put it on your calendar. April 19th at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sketchy Saturdays. First show with Randy Zimmerman. Did I agree to that? I think so, probably. And Peter Palmiotti. Okay, I did agree. Wow. Special guest. There we are. Nine Realms says it would be cool to see Rich draw the Embrace. That's Nine Realms published. It's
what's the okay, sure.
That's Michael Oden's character.
Okay, send me the art stuff and I'll do it.
Yeah.
What kind of Embrace?
We'll see more Embrace. Oh, it's a character. That's
a really nice big hug with a grabs on both cheeks of the ass. That's how I like it.
That wasn't what I was
pretty
thinking.
book.
But
Sin Killer says, great show. Glad to see you all. Have a great week. Be safe. Comic Book Black Belt says, great show, guys. Yes, thank you very much. We want to thank everybody for listening into the Sunday Funnies here for the 27th of March, 2022. I've been your host, Randy Zimmerman. You can find me on Facebook under Randy Zimmerman. Don't look for me on Twitter under Randy Zim. I'm there, but I'm never there. I only have the page to keep the Russian hackers from getting a hold of it. And that's a true story.
Jesus Christ. Mr. Rosema, it was an honor to meet you today.
Well, Rich, it was great seeing me too. I'm glad you liked it.
And like I said at the start of the show,
love it.
Dojo Kun has put out an amended report for the Liberty distribution debacle. And if you go there and watch it, you're more than welcome to. In fact, I ask that you do and that you spread it around to as many people as you possibly can. It's a very important video that everyone needs to see. We will be talking more about that on Wednesday's Zimcast. I'm not sure if Michael C. will be talking about that on Tuesday night at the Dispatches Outside the Box. Probably not, but it's really a topic more made for the Zimcast. That's Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. It's another show that I run where we talk about comic news and popular entertainment news. That's awesome. Welcome to your opinions, and I freely give them out there. And there is a lot to talk about that mess, and we will discuss that topic on Wednesday. And I deeply appreciate everybody listening. Do look at the Long Shots campaign over on Indiegogo. That's under the Long Shots. The link is in the chat. It's 7 authors, 5 publishers, 9 great books. Available for $25. These books are already printed. They're waiting to go. They're sitting in a storage facility, waiting to go into your hands. They're beautifully produced, just like Russ Leach's Only Death Can Save Us book.
Oh, yes.
Just absolutely gorgeous stuff. 9 very different properties that aren't going to go away, even though the deal that they were associated with never existed. So make sure you go and check out the Long Shots campaign on Indiegogo. Also, there's going to be a Fellowship of the Indies campaign start up in a couple of weeks over on Kickstarter as well. And there's metal bookmarks, there's sketch cards, there's prints, there's all sorts of add-ons. They've even taken a group of the books and bound them together for a couple of special tiers. And if you look at the Indiegogo, there is a one-time offer for an executive package for 10 grand. You pay us 10 grand. We're all going to show up. We're all going to go, as many of us that can physically. We're all going to show up. We're all going to party in that Spencer's parking lot. We absolutely guarantee you will never get inside. There will be an Italian lunch. Then we'll all go over to the local nearby Texas Roadhouse where you'll get to ride the sawhorse. And we'll all party over there. The next day, we will take you on a tour of a comic book store's basement where we all sat for a day and under false pretenses and thought that we were honestly going to change comics as we know it. And then if you're good, we'll give you a tour of Central Park.
Can I just say
just to be aggravated?
Can I just say something quick, Randy?
Yes.
See those shorts I've got on there?
Oh,
yes.
Oh,
I was going to put those. I still got them. I was going to put them on the Indiegogo for 10 grand just to see what happened, but I thought that's not a good idea.
Probably not.
These shorts were in close proximity to Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
They have been washed a few times
Wow.
since then.
They
boy.
what it's worth.
Again, everybody,
just
we want to
horrible.
thank you. We're going to cut ourselves short here just by a couple of minutes and be on our way. So, Glenn,
Bye.
Scott,
Glenn,
Rich,
great meeting
You
you,
can't
bud.
see me.
thank you
Thanks,
so
Scott.
much
Yeah,
for
you
being
too.
on.
Again.
Deeply appreciate you.
Thanks, Randy.
Next Sunday, Glenn will probably be joining us. Scott might be joining us. Rich might or might not be joining us.
I will, if you want me to draw the Embracer or whoever the hell the character is, all I need is reference
We
and send
might-
it to me, and then I'll do it.
Michael Oden, get on that. Send it to Rich Perota.
Yep.
Right there.
Parada.
Parada.
How many
I'm
times I
sorry,
gotta tell you?
Parada,
All right,
Perota.
keep at it.
Tomato,
Rich. Looks
tomato.
good.
Parada.
Thank you.
I won't
I
forget
appreciate that, man. Talk to you cats later.
You
Well,
bet.
we'll see everybody
Rich.
soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take care. Next week, we should have all of those people plus Brian K. Morris.
Yay.
Should be
Oh,
joining us.
Brian.
The Fez man himself should be here. He asked to be on this week, but I told him we already had a full house because I was expecting Roland to pop in as well. So he'll be here
All right.
next week. Maybe Michael Oden will be here.
Brian Morris, the Fez man.
The Fez man. Yes, sir. You know Brian Morris, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Great writer. He also edited some Kirby book that Glenn there wrote.
No.
And that's only got a few days. Rich has already run away. Let's run that closing. We'll see everybody soon.
See you, Randy.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah.
Scott, welcome, or thanks for coming on. Glenn, thanks
Okay.
again for coming on. Take care, everybody. See you next Sunday,
Talk to you
9
guys
a.m.
later.
for another episode of Sunday Funnies. Make sure you tune in Wednesday night at 9 p.m. We'll talk about this Liberty mess there and then. And in the meantime, I'm probably going to be pretty radio silent about everything. You can PM me if you have to.
Finally,
All right,
I'm going to get out of this outfit.
No.
Do you draw the Flintstones naked? There's a market for that.